Well, here we are. Good Monday morning, ladies and gentlemen. One and only Bobby Roast Beef. I'm gonna close that window in the back so you guys don't get that wind noise or anything. None of that trailer noise. I'm trying to help you guys out. We got 7 a.m. right now. We're making our way to a body of water after dropping off the kid at school. We are going to go and fish with a good friend of the show, longtime listener, a Dark Horse Tackle Pro Team member, just all around good guy, Adam Blomeke, going to be joining us. And I haven't seen Adam since Columbus Fishing Expo weekend in Ohio. We had ourselves one hell of a time. And, I'm glad we are finally getting together to fish. I got the boat in tow. I have all my gear. I got a cooler full of Diet Cokes on ice, ready to go, and I'm looking forward to it. I think we're going to have ourselves one hell of a time. So yeah, we're going to fish until sometime this afternoon, and then make it happen. Recorded the show last night. Man, I'll tell you, last night was a fun show to record. It reminded me of just some of those like chill, kind of laid back shows where we kind of just shoot from the hip. Nothing super serious to talk about, nothing crazy, happening. Had a couple of interesting headlines come out regarding some fun prehistoric species of fish and some fishing regulations in Canada, our neighbors to the north. Pretty harsh regulations too. It's pretty crazy. Had a bunch of jig heads in the house, and if you on the channel, I'm not sure if I've talked enough about the jig heads, but the jig heads are our followers over on Patreon, and they're the fans of Jigs and Bigs that are like the most dedicated. So they subscribe, they have access to a that we put out there. There we go. I knew we'd be back. It gets a little bit spotty. It gets a little bit spotty back here on the sticks where I have to drop my youngest off. So hopefully some folks are back in here. We did have a couple people watching, but yeah. So going out to fish. Show was awesome. We had a great time with it. Oh, I was talking about the jig heads earlier. So yeah, there are our Patreon subscribers. They get access to
at the next stop sign, turn right.
Will do. They get access to our our live stream, so they can engage with us while we record the show, and it's always a good time. So we love the jig heads, and Patreon actually unlocked a new feature.
Turn right onto Cold Spring Road.
The jig heads, the paid memberships for the jig heads are $5 a month, $5. So like for a cup of good coffee.
In a quarter of a mile, turn right onto Rattle Hill Road.
Each month you get access to all that stuff, plus the other jig head benefits. We've got some discounts that we offer to the subscribers. Like with our partners, lots of times we ask them to provide an additional discount code or something along those lines for the jig heads. Like Dark Horse Tackle's been amazing with that. We do a lot for them anytime that we can. Rattle Hill Road? Done deal. So where was I? Let's get back to it. Yeah.
In about 1 mile, turn left onto Walcott Road.
So this new thing that I noticed on Patreon, and last night's post was the last one, I was able to make like a one-time charge so that anybody who... Dave, I apologize. Good morning, buddy. This cell service seems like worse than ever right now.
In half a mile, turn left to Walcott Road.
Why are there cars just straight chilling right here? Never ceases to amaze. So yeah, I noticed I was able to do that, and I used that feature last night, and unfortunately I wanted to set the buy-in for like $1, but in reality the minimum I can set it to is $3. So it seems a little bit foolish to even have that on, since you can subscribe for $5 and have full access to all the Jig Head benefits and all of the Jig Head exclusive live streams, but it's there if you wanted to try it beforehand. You can go ahead and do it, you know, and check it out, see what you think. The place that I'm fishing today is one of Who the Fuck is Joe Brown's, I think, least favorite bodies of water. I think it's the one body of water I've heard him kind of put on his
at the stop sign, turn right onto Pomeroy Meadow Road.
1-star list. But location-wise, for Adam and I, it makes perfect sense. It's about the same distance for the both of us. It's actually, I kind of hit it out of the park, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, we're going to send it. We're going to have ourselves a good time and try and catch them. As far as the scavenger hunt goes, this month I got a handful that I still need. I still haven't, in the month of September, come across any smallies.
At the next stop sign, turn right.
And I've been fishing a lot of water where smallies are all over the place. This spot that we're going to does have some smallies, not many. It's got all the trout too that I'm looking for, which would be great. And I believe that at one point or another they used to or have periodically stocked pike and muskie, which would be delightful. Pike, I need pike for the scavenger hunt. I could throw a muskie in there with no problem.
Stop sign,
I've never
right
caught a muskie
onto College Highway.
ever, and I would love to. They're not super common in my area. You're not going to see them everywhere. This is one thing that drives me bananas.
In 6.8 miles, turn right to merge onto I-90 towards Boston.
I'm going west in order to go east right now. It drives me bananas. But I get it. This is the quickest way to get to me, to the highway, to move things along. It is what it is. So yeah, I'm looking forward to today. Today's gonna be pretty good. I got another trip planned with two absolute legends, Delirious Angler, and I don't know if you guys remember this guy. He used to do a lot more fishing than he does, or he still fishes. I guess he's just not on social media nearly as much as he used to. One and only Wild Bill Fishing, one of the OG owners of Hookset Hoodlums. Today must just be like National Stop in the Middle of the Road Day. What is actually even happening right here, ladies and gentlemen? I might keep you on to just BS for this entire drive. Just, because I like to mix it up. I like to move in the night, you know what I'm saying? It's just how I like to do it. Oh, been thinking about what I could possibly do with the boat for modifications as we go through the fall and into the winter season. I have been toying around with, obviously electronics is a big one. Big Games Player, how we doing? I have been toying around with electronics in a major way. Oh, Binia chimes in, says, I might be going to Somerset this weekend. If you're bored, I'm gonna have to put a yellow light there, Binia. And I say that because my wife pointed out that she has a day completely off from scheduling herself on any of her other side jobs or her regular job for the first day in like 13 days. Nothing lined up. And I said, hey, it's been since the 4th of July. You want to make it a boat day? And she said, let's go make it a boat day. I said, I am down. Let's go ahead and do it. And she said, sounds like a plan. So it may happen. It might get to Friday. She might be like, I don't want to get up tomorrow. And then I might end up hooking up with you. I could be down for Sunday though, Binia, if you're around. Cold water fishing, Big Game Slayer. Yep, absolutely. Somerset, cold water. I love cold water fishing. I really do. Whether it's BFS fishing or I'm throwing, I'll tell you what, like throwing larger inline spinners has been great in cold water for me. I mean, absolutely amazing. When I was up at Moosehead and Prong Pond in Maine, oh, beautiful. Either day works. All right, why don't we put I'm pretty sure Sunday's available. We could call it Sunday if why don't we do that? That sounds like a good idea. There's a Somerset up by me in southern Vermont, but I don't think that's what you're talking about. Dave, that is what we're talking about, right near the National Forest. It's a beautiful area. Yeah, that is exactly what we're talking about. I love that. Look at us. Just a bunch of New Englanders, you know? Having our morning coffee, you know? Talking fishing spots. I am a little bit nervous about the ramp with the Lund. I am. My home campground, holy shit. I love it over there, Dave. I really do. That National Forest is absolutely amazing. Getting in there, and there's that old, I think it's an old airfield that has a bunch of dispersed campsites on there. In fact, I say dispersed campsites, but there's like facilities in there for trash and facilities for, I think there might even be bathrooms in there. Like, no, I don't think plumbing. I think they're just pit toilets or whatever, but hey, it's all good. That ramp is a little sketchy. Yeah, I mean, I remember with the wind, the last time we launched the kayaks there, that was sketchy. Not as sketchy as Jordan was in March. We had some wind over there. Like, my boat was like thrashing up against rocks. I almost lost gear. It was ridiculous. I'd be down for some cold water salmon. I'll bring some Boschons. We'll have a little sashimi. We'll give ourselves worms. Because, you know, I'm a moron when it comes to that kind of stuff. But, you know, one modification I've been talking about. So I've been talking about electronics. I've been going back and forth. I've been throwing around the idea. I know exactly sort of the model that I'm looking for. And I was debating the idea of doing a 9-inch side scan unit at the console. Obviously, so I could, you know, cruise and idle around some water and mark some spots. That would be my goal, actually, early on in the season. You know, get out there too and like really kind of come up with a plan, really put side scan to work and dive in. So that's been a big sort of thing for me. And I've been throwing around the idea of doing like a 9-inch there for mapping, for side scan, you know, obviously use it for, you know, for 2D sonar and stuff if need be. And then I was like, you know, I could go really minimalist up front with, you know, like a smaller, like a 7-inch, like what I've got on my kayak, you know, something real simple. I'm not even concerned about using side scan at the bow at all. 2D sonar is really all I kind of need there, but I'd like a large enough screen where I can actually read it and see it, you know? So I was thinking like maybe a 7 would be pretty good. Throw in there. I don't know, I could do something a little bit smaller. I'm not a big, like, rely on my electronics guy. What brand? I'm thinking I'm definitely going to go Humminbird at the console, because there are features that I want to be tying in to my my Minn Kota trolling motor. There's stuff that I want to set up. I want to be able to go in there and look at, I think they call it, I want to say the feature is called like jogging, and I don't know, me jogging is hilarious. But I think the way it works is you could find a contour line on your screen, and you would write, you would put a line in place where you would trace that line, and basically the GPS on the trolling motor will keep you on that contour moving along that line. So I kind of like that idea, so that if I see something that looks really good, like a point, I can just kind of set it and then let it rip. And then if I find something that's good, I hit spot lock, and I should be held in that spot for a little bit. So I really do kind of like that idea. For the bow, I'm looking to get out of the bow as cheap as I can, to be perfectly honest. But then there was another part of me that was thinking maybe instead I just go large at the console and do a 12-inch screen, one unit. And this way, if I have to do a split screen, I've got more real estate to play with. I could do a map and a side scan on either one, and just kind of go from there. You know, just to have more real estate, because my console will support it pretty easily. Like the Lund consoles, they put a nice flat top on there, and it'll fit like a glove. So I'm thinking if I do that, I just don't know if I'm going to have the funds necessarily to throw in a bow unit on top of that. So I got to play around with that idea and see what I can afford. I do have an old Striker 4 with no GPS. It's just straight up 2D sonar, and I'm considering the idea of maybe putting that on the bow.
At the next lights, turn right.
You know, I could do that. It's really compact. I could do that, and that could buy me some time to put something else in place. You know, assume you're going bird to sync to your trolling motor. That's exactly what it is. Exactly what it is. You know, I don't really love any. You know, I've had access to see a lot of different units on boats. That sounds perverted, actually. I've had the opportunity to see pretty much all the brands on there, and I know that like they each sort of have a strong suit, and I get that. I'm game for it.
At the lights, use the right lane to merge onto I-90 towards Boston.
What's Dave got
Then
to say
keep
here?
right to merge onto
Just
Massachusetts
bathroom, no
Turnpike.
running water or trash. Dad used to check the boats up there. Oh, okay, just bath, but still, that's pretty awesome. Oh, man. Yeah, Somerset sounds like a good idea. I think that could be a damn good time. We'll send it. We'll see how it goes. What I might do, Binya, is that we might launch the boat.
Keep right to merge onto Massachusetts Turnpike towards Worcester.
Taking advantage of a little two-person launch here. I might have you back me down and have you pull up and park, and then I'll come back, and instead of using the rope and pulling it in and having it just be crazy. That might be kind of nuts. I don't know. We'll figure it out. For you, could you a base model up front and eventually run a 360 at the console? See, you know what's funny, man? I don't know if I want the 360 at the console or if I want the 360
For
at the
about
bow.
49 miles, continue straight on.
You know, I'm not sure. I have, to tell you the truth, I have never even fucked around with 360 to see how it works or how it lines up. I got a Stady running up on my left right here. I'm gonna move over once these cars. Everybody's got this idea. Oh, it's the guy with the trailer that's taking his sweet ass time. Nope. Watch this. So yeah, I don't really have much experience with 360. 360 is, I think, the feature that I'm probably most interested in the grand scheme of things, but you know, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. We'll figure it all out. With Humminbird, the console with everything on the bow is cheaper. You know, we'll run through the console. That's what I was thinking. I want to put my money at console, you know, for what, at least what I'm intending on using. I've got experience in the kayak with side scan. Like, don't get me wrong, on a pedal kayak, I could stand to put the pedal, the motion in, put the work in, but pedaling around with side scan to mark spots and mark structure and, you know, on a map, like, it's just not realistic. If I'm in that kayak and I'm putting the work in, I am fishing. But I would drop this boat and I would cruise around and mark spots all day. All day. I would have no issues doing that, you know, in preparation for other stuff. Be kind of interesting. You know, we'll see how we do. I cannot get over how unbelievably perfect it has been lately. Like, I don't mind the heat at all. I'll tell you the truth, I kind of enjoy it. But I love a cold morning. It's in the 50s right now. I'm bundled up in my Reaper hoodie. I'm feeling good. So it'll play through both with one of the units only having it. That's a beautiful thing. Wait till you see my special guest on Saturday, a particular 12-year-old we both know. Oh, that's awesome. He's going to be on the spawn. That's great, man. Awesome. Yeah, Brody's a good kid. He's a great kid. And you're right, he is a walking Jigs and Bigs billboard. I love that. Sending him that shirt and hat for absolutely annihilating the field in the last slot limit tournament. was that was a high what do you call it? Return on investment right there, big time, because he is all about fishing in general, but just promoting the show. Like, he's awesome, and just great kid, man. Absolutely, he's gonna be an absolute stick when he's older. If he gets into tournaments, I worry about the competition. I really do. Let's actually talk Slot Limit Tournament for a second, guys. We got a few of you in here. Let's talk about it. I am registered for the Slot Limit Tournament. It's happening on October the 12th. It's nationwide Slot Limit Tournament. The slot limit runs 12 inches to 17 inches. This way it keeps a nice level playing field for everybody all over the country. It's going to be a little bit interesting now because we're later in the year. Sunrise is a little bit different, so those West Coast anglers, they're going to have, they're going to be getting out there. It's going to be pretty dark, I think, for them when we get out there, but it's going to be awesome. And it's a Breast Cancer Research Foundation fundraiser. So we are raising money for breast cancer research this month, and so far, last I checked, there's only a couple of anglers, and they're both in the chat right now, myself and Binya. My goal is, and everybody talks about loving the idea of the Slot Limit Tournament and wanting to be a part of the Slot Limit Tournament and all this other stuff, and I am here for it, 100% here for it. With that said, the actual people who sign up is a fraction of what I would really expect with how much buzz this seems to get with the Jigs and Bigs crowd. So I'm hoping to see everybody from the one that we did in June, which was awesome. It was a fun day. I have gotten rid of the, what do you call it? I've gotten rid of the check-in feature. I'm sure Janelle is in, though. Oh, I'm sure she is, too. In fact, everybody that's going to be at Cayuga with us, Binya, are definitely going to be in. And I think, actually, registration is open until the Friday before. So you can, even if they're there and they haven't registered, they can at whatever point. I mentioned the check-in at any specific body of water because I want to allow people to make that decision. Where, if they want to change bodies of water in that 8-hour window, is it worth it? If you're getting your ass handed to you at the place you intended to go fish, and you're like, screw it, let's try this other spot. You have to make a decision. Is it worth the time? For some people, it won't be worth the time. For others, they're going to be all in 100%. So I think this October, we're going to have a blast. I know at Cayuga, where the group of us are going, and I still have to talk with Nick and find out what the scoop is for how many people have reached out, if any at all. I mean, I need to make sure that people can see this post, and can go ahead and do it. I think that one everybody can. Yeah, I think so. I think that's how Janelle got in touch with Nick. But yeah, she is in. I'm stoked. It'll actually be her first time showing off the bus in person, so I'm stoked for that. This is pretty cool. Going by this little Wolf Creek camper top on this Ram truck. That's pretty slick. That's cool looking. I'm all about that stuff. All about it. Forget his name, but I found an angler on YouTube, Canadian guy, that is like, he's rocking the Becca and Bobby Roast Beef combo. He's got the four-wheel camper top on his Tundra, and he's pulling a beautiful Lund Pro Bass 2075, I think. Absolutely beautiful. There we go. That's better. After we get past this exit. Nope, the next one too. That's a shit show. The campground itself, he says the campground has a ramp. The campground itself does not have a ramp. It does have boat slips available. So, with that said, I will be leaving my boat there. I don't know. Joe may or may not be there. He may also be leaving his boat there as well. Nick had asked me about towing some folks in. I'm okay with that. You know, I only take these tournaments so seriously. You know, so if everybody else is okay with it, that's fine. But the ramp is a short drive from where we are. And the boat slips aren't on Cayuga proper. They're on a river that feeds Cayuga. So we can leave right from in there and get access that way. So it'll be pretty interesting. My dream boat, but I want the angler for the money. Dude, the angler for the money and the versatility. Like, there is something about having that platform on a 16.5-foot boat that is, to me, I see it as perfect. Especially the fact that I'm not a tournament guy, you know? So I don't need, like, the crazy organization or anything else. In fact, like, I've seen Joe's Icon in person once. All right, go ahead. You go ahead and do what you got to do there. I am passing cars on the left. But if that's not fast enough for you, game on. Valley Communications. Oh, you're getting off here. That's fine. Yeah, I think for me, I think it's the perfect vessel. And there's going to be more content coming showing the boat and the evolution. I'm also planning on doing, now that I've got some actual, like, real hours in the boat fishing in different situations and playing with some stuff, and this has been actually, you know, the last time I did a boat walkthrough, it was stock. It was how I purchased it before the upgrade of the trolling motor, you know, to give me spot lock and all that, before the upgrade of adding some rod holders and such. I actually do have some rod holders that I still need to pick up that I need to put on the front of the console. It's going to be a nice little setup.
Speed check reported ahead on I-90 East.
Speed check, look at that. Janelle's rolling with me, by the way. We're throwing the kayaks on my trailer. Oh, there you go. Because her having to drive the boat. Yeah, that would be crazy, man. That's a really good idea. Pop that kayak in, and that'll make life way, way, way easier. I mean, she could drive the bus over, but, like, if she sets up camp, you're absolutely right. That's, you know, and that's one of those things about, like, setting up your rig. You know, everybody's different. It's so personable, you know? It's like, what do you need in order to do such and such? You know, oh, if you're going to camp on the bus and you're going to move your kayak wherever, well, you have to set up camp in a way that, you know, you can easily just drive off and go. With me, I have to find spots where I can camp. If I'm bringing everything, where I can have a trailer, even if it's just my kayak. You know, that thing's freaking ridiculous. But, you know, it's funny. I had made a post a few weeks back about hold on a second, let me make a couple of adjustments here. I made a post a few weeks back on Facebook, I want to say, testing the waters to see if there was interest in a rigs and coffee, you know, where folks can show up and show off their rigs, and they can, when I say rigs, I mean really broad, like, you know, if you've got a setup where you're tournament fishing and, you know, you want to show off your trailer setup and your camp setup and everything, basically if it's vehicle oriented, that's what we're trying to do. And I thought about it, I was like, yeah, you know, a lot of people like to check out how I have my stuff set up, so I'm gonna take one of these days and organize it and set up the back like it would be for camping, like with everything in there to show that off, rig up the boat, and, you know, kind of show how that works and everything, and how it all kind of ties together. You know, I figured, you know, to people, you know, there's a lot of dudes that just want to show off their boat, which I'm all for. Go for it. Go show it off. We're gonna have some folks that want to just show off their overland rig. You know, what the rig they use to get on soft road and do some camping or do some wheeling or whatever it is that they're down with. You know. There we go. That's better. So yeah, that could be pretty sweet. I'd be very, very interested in that. Doing some kind of a Rigs and Coffee where everybody gets together at one spot. You know, and definitely this would be in probably at the earliest we would do it would be like late November. I'd have to find a spot. Somebody asked if they were going to be splashing boats and doing fishing. I'm like, I don't know that I could find a spot that would have a ramp and it would be cool to do so, you know. I guess possibly it could happen, but like, then how do you check out somebody's boat if it's on the water? You know, that's my whole thing. So, and of course, we're going to do coffee and donuts for everybody who's in attendance, just because. Probably go a little bit extra with the coffee. Might even, in fact, I'm debating the idea of a coffee sponsor for this. That's how much I believe in coffee and how important it is to me. And, you know, we'll do some donuts from like a local spot. Depending on where this happens, this could be a blast. You know, just set up a bunch of stuff, you know, have a good time. Did some talking last night on the show about my dreams of bringing Jigs and Bigs on tour. And I've been toying with ways to kind of make it work, you know. Sometimes for better or for worse, sometimes I come up with these ideas that sound absolutely amazing. And I find it's best to talk out my ideas and kind of see where the things where there might be a pitfall or something, and I'll notice something, or that will often spur other inspiration to kind of like make things work sometimes. But I always feel awkward about it, talking about stuff like this on the show a little bit, because I'm not really sure that one, I'm not going to provide inspiration to somebody else to like go and do it. I don't really do business that way, where I'm like, you got to put things into the world, man. Like whatever it is, your idea. It's nice to keep things to yourself, but at the same time, think about how many ideas you have that you don't do anything with. Well, if somebody did, that could lead to something pretty amazing. So, you know, don't keep everything so close to the chest. I understand you got a short list. That's fine, but fishing spots are different. You know, fishing spots are very different. There we go. That's how these great ideas grow and become a reality. Yep, you're right, Dave. It's true. You know, I definitely find that's, you know, the more I don't know if it's weird hippy dippy bullshit, but like I'll oftentimes like just once you say it, and I hate phrasing it as saying like, oh, I'm gonna do this. I understand that like sometimes you have to, but I prefer to lay the groundwork and put that energy out there, and then, you know, actually make some shit happen. Wow, I'm getting passed hard right now by, oh, it's a dump truck. It's a dump truck ass. And a great personality to boot. Get right behind these guys. We're gonna, I don't know what is in this truck. If this guy is hauling a full fucking rig full of lead, that could be it. That must just be heavier than shit. We'll get around them, make our way downtown. But yeah, you know, we're gonna go out, we're gonna fish today, try and get on them. Joe says on the show last night, he's like, I got some spots for you, and I'm like, I don't want your spots. I mean, I'll take them, you know what I mean? Like, hey, if somebody wants to make a suggestion of where they've had good experience, that's just more to add to it. But I'm not one of those guys that's like, hey, go fish here and do exactly this, and it's gonna happen, because I know that it is not always the case. It's always best to take all of these little nuggets with a grain of salt and apply them, you know, take them into consideration, weigh them up against what you're seeing. It's part of the reason why I love fishing. I've been saying it for a long time. Fishing, it's one of the few things in life that is truly one part science and one part art. And when those two elements come together, it's magical. there's a lot of folks that are out there that I talk to that I was just talking with an old trivia player. She has kind of disappeared for a little while. She had some health things going on. And I was telling her, I was like, well, hey, you like wildlife? I'm trying to bring more of the trivia crowd on the boat to fish. I like that whole fish out of water, like, holy crap, this isn't what I normally do kind of thing. And I feel like there's a little bit of resistance for people to commit. But I've been throwing the invite out there. And I was talking with her, and I was like, well, you like wildlife. Have you ever fished? And she's like, I have, and I hated it. And I was like, oh, really? Why is that? She goes, one of these answers I knew was coming. She goes, well, I don't really eat fish. And, I kind of see the idea of hooking a fish to reel it in to just set it free kind of stupid. And I was like, all right, fair enough, And then she says, and the whole being quiet thing, that's not me. And I 100% had her pegged for one that could not be quiet at all. That's just not her personality. But I think that is part of why it would make a great video. You know what I mean? She's a character. So I said to her, I was like, well, I get it. But you don't want to eat the fish out of the bodies of water that are local to where we are anyway, because of the heavy metals and the factory runoff and all this stuff. It's not a great idea anyway, unless it's stocked or whatever. And I was like, the vast majority of fish are caught and released. And I'm like, I didn't go down the whole, like, you can't really give wild animals or animals in general anthropomorphic qualities, because if you do, you're basically creating like a cartoon character. It's not real. So I was like, it's each their own. It is what it is. But the quiet thing, I was like, when you fish with me, it's a fucking party. Binya knows. He knows. I'm not one of these. I gotta be super quiet. Like, I'm not stoned. I'm not trying to drop a bunch of stuff in my kayak or anything like that. I get that. Don't get me wrong. But like having a conversation, having some laughs, hitting the fish whistle and singing some songs and fucking the lyrics up, making it funny. That's how I live my life. And I'm all about it. What do we got here? Nah, it's holding your face right. What do we got, Dave? Wish I could get out and fish, but I'm battling cancer. Has been draining. Dude, no shit. I'm sorry to hear that, man. Cancer's a bitch. Thank you for letting me fish through you. And, oh, dude, that's amazing. I appreciate that. That shit's, that hits, dude. So let me tell you a little bit of story. I don't know if you guys realize this, but so back in 2020, all right, I was, had a lot of free time. And I've talked about how the podcast came to be, and it's kind of like for my own mental health, I needed a project. I needed something to work on, and I never really felt qualified to be a content creator in fishing, because I felt like you needed to be an expert, and there could be nothing further from the truth, nothing at all. But back then, when I was fishing, I was really getting out with like one dude, and it was the dude who, in my 30s, really reintroduced me to fishing. It's my friend Paul. He's been in some videos in the past, and I've posted, and I talk about him on the show all the time. Paul's an amazing guy. I love that son of a bitch. We've been in bands together. We both played our first show together in the same group. In fact, fun fact, we played a show. Our first show was with former members of Killswitch Engage, which was fucking magical. The band is called Rock, and they probably invented that stuff. He keeps to himself. I get that, and I respect that. But I thought that by starting the podcast, this could be a good vehicle for us to go and extend our adventure into some really, really creative places. And to some degree, that still has been the case. Like we did the Chickamauga Send. We did a couple of other pretty cool trips to different areas. We've really, really had a lot of experience. I mean, shit, the boat, him buying his first kayak, all of this stuff. Well, I guess we were like This was after he was on the show. So we were a couple of episodes, maybe 3 or 4 in, before this news happened. And I never talked about it on the show because he asked me not to at the time because it was kind of a big deal. But Paul, right around when I started the show, this was in the height of the COVID pandemic. He had, his wife was like, dude, you look terrible. He was all like yellow and jaundice, you know? So he went to the hospital. He was trying to avoid doing that, but he went and they were like, okay, we're going to, see you and see what's going on. And I want to say it might have been like gallbladder related, or he had some kind of an issue, and they did like either, I think they did an MRI or a CAT scan or something, and they ran a bunch of tests, and they found out that he had pancreatic cancer. And they reached out to him right away. They're like, you need to come in. We need to follow up with you. We saw something. We think it might be cancerous. And it was pancreatic. And I mean, for the vast majority of people with pancreatic cancer, you don't have symptoms of that. He got very lucky with early detection because they found it so early. Also, it really helped the fact that he was so young. In the grand scheme of things, being 40, I think he was 41 maybe at the time, being, in your early 40s is an absolute game changer. Being able to handle the treatment, So he saw his oncologist and everything, and immediately I was like, holy fucking shit. My fucking thought was, well, now I'm going to do everything that I can to try to build this podcast so that we can somehow put together a trust fund to make sure his family's all right, things like that, looking out for my boy's family. I mean, I'm his oldest daughter's godfather, for crying out loud, which on its own is hilarious that I'm somebody's godfather. So, I was like, Jesus Christ, it's crazy. He made a full recovery after his surgery. Surgery went really well. He handled chemo fantastic. And he made a full recovery and, is doing his thing. And it's been, shit, I think his surgery was in 2021, early 2021. And he's been doing great. He's had a series of follow-ups, and they feel really positive about everything. My God, these trucks, and it's so far it's been a really good thing for him. But I feel like cancer is a bitch. It's absolutely a bitch. And I'm sorry, Dave, to go on a fucking tirade, or on a tangent like that. But it's a story that, I feel for you, buddy. And I hope that you're able to get on the water soon. But that's what this content and shit is for. When you're, I know for me, especially in the winter, I don't ice fish. It just doesn't interest me. Sometimes it's nice to put Josh Pig Patrol on and watch him go catch what most people would consider to be trash fish, and it's there's something about that gives a little bit of comfort, I guess. I don't know. Even with the drama of social media and the saturation and all of these things, the arguments that pop up on social media with different topics in the fishing community, I think that overall fishing content creators are doing more for the sport, more for other anglers than they really realize. There we go. That's a little bit better. Yeah. I'm going to wrap this puppy up, guys. It is, I'm only about, 30 minutes out. I'm going to probably make a pit stop along the way. I will see you guys on the next little Monday live. I'm going to try and do these on Mondays as often as I can. And lots of times Mondays often means it's an editing day, but last night I managed to get all that stuff done in preparation to go hit the water today with Adam. So if you're lucky enough to get out on the water today, I hope you get out there and you absolutely slay them. We will see you guys. Check out Jinx and Biggs. It drops later tonight on all podcast platforms. You can check it out right here on YouTube as well. Make sure to give us a subscribe on the YouTube channel. I like to kind of use this as the behind the scenes area for how everything goes. Go ahead and check it out, and we will see you guys next time. All right, take care, guys, and have yourselves a good one.